Hey, what's going on YouTube? Triple Tapple here with another video here. Not so much a review video. I've been getting some requests and some inquiries regarding gun trust, and so I recently had one made, and so I thought I would spend a little bit of time and kind of talk about the ins and outs of a gun trust. Now, let me start off by saying I am not an attorney. This is not meant to take the place of any kind of legal advice. Should you have legal advice, I highly recommend you consult an attorney. That is exactly what I did, and I could not be happier. A couple of weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago or so, went to a local gun show here in the Houston, Texas area. And I was walking around, and I was really surprised to see that a lawyer had a booth set up, and I thought, that's kind of weird. And his banner said Gun Trust, and it kind of piqued my interest. I had kind of heard of them, but didn't really know, much about them. And so I went over there and sat down. Very nice young man. I probably talked to him for a good hour, and, as I had a lot of questions, and he very thoroughly answered my questions and, put a lot of my fears at rest. Not so much that I was afraid of it. I just, like I said, I really didn't know what I was getting into. What the hell do I know about, gun trust? I'm a nurse, not a lawyer. So anyway, after talking with him for some time, I said, you know what, this sounds pretty good. I think this is something I'd like to do. And so, this was on a Saturday. I had the gun trust by Monday, and I'll just kind of, as you can see, it's pretty extensive here. And so there's, let's see, how many pages? I don't know. There's 40, 37, 30. It's about 46 pages. So very, very thorough. I will also say that I saw a lot of advertisements online, for $100 up to 125, 129. I paid this guy $200, and for me, it was well worth it because, like I said, if nothing else, I spent an hour of his time asking him questions, and we all know what lawyers charge, and for me, it was just that extra peace of mind. He did some kind of different things in here that kind of covered some additional entities if I were to take friends out, because technically if you go out and you have, let's say, a Class 3 NFA type article, i.e. a suppressor or an automatic weapon or a short barrel rifle, depending on what state you live in. I live in Texas, so I'm speaking directly to Texas. So all of those things are legal here, providing you do the right things and speak with the right people, the local sheriff and I can't think of the name of what they call him, chief law enforcement officer. That's what it is. So there's a lot of hoops to jump through. In other words, so by no means am I trying to say that creating a family or creating a gun trust completely eliminates those hoops, but I can tell you that it eliminates quite a bit. For example, speaking of that chief law enforcement officer, don't need his or her signature anymore. Basically, what this allows you to do is to circumvent all these quote-unquote middlemen. Don't need fingerprints, don't need to get these photographs and go with the chief law enforcement officer. In fact, in some counties, particularly, like I live in Montgomery County, Texas, and from what I've been told by a couple of folks at one of the ranges that I have a membership at, and they said, a lot of these guys are basically just not signing them anymore. So that kind of sucks. They're really putting a monkey wrench in something that is completely and totally legal. So again, what this does is it allows you to circumvent these kind of middlemen and deal directly with, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Fire and all that kind of good stuff. So something that I highly recommend. It was the best $200 I ever spent. Paid him directly with PayPal, and this gun trust is very, very thorough. It not only covers me, my family, my children. This thing goes on for like, I don't know, 70 years. There's, some ways to continue. If something happens to myself, it goes on to my children. I can add additional beneficiaries and trustees and guarantors and all these kind of things. But assuming I'm still, alive and well and capable, I still have the ultimate say so. So, also, what it allows you to do is to kind of put any other firearms that you want listed that are not necessarily NFA items in here. They can be part of this trust as well. And like I said, it's a really cool kind of layer of protection. And there's been some talk, regarding, depending upon who's in office. We all know who's in office right now. And who knows what the future is going to hold. But once you have one of these, you're grandfathered in. So, all you have to do is, get it notarized, and then you essentially have an actual trust. And so now, if and when I go and buy, say I want to buy a Class 3, say I want to buy a suppressor, I go in there and I can take this handy dandy gun trust, and then it just makes things a whole lot easier. And so like I said, there are services out there that'll do it for half or maybe a little less than what I paid. But for me, like I said, dealing with something like this and something kind of complicated, and that's certainly out of my area of expertise, my scope of practice, I was I considered it $200 well spent to spend the time with this young man and really understand the ins and outs. And he had kind of, I don't want to say did custom things, but really kind of put some things in there that said, okay, hey, this is, like if you, let's just say, for example, you're going out and you're shooting with just some friends. If you don't have the gun trust set up in such a way, I mean, you're technically committing a felony by letting other people utilize these things, because they're really not allowed. It would be just like if you were to use something that maybe is a pistol, and then all of a sudden you're trying to use it in the capacity of a short barrel rifle. That could cause some issues, depending upon how big of a dick the arresting officer or whatever want it to be. So my mentality is, hey, I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And so when you go in, I mean, the trustee, you still are subject to the background check. However, you cut out, like I said, all these middlemen. The application goes directly to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, all that kind of stuff. So instead of waiting, maybe 9 months to a year, maybe you can get it done in 3 or 4 months. It's gonna make the process go, a lot more expeditiously, which is a good thing, because a lot of people, again, there's that concept that these some of these items, these suppressors, automatic weapons, short barrel rifles, all these kind of things, even very much extended magazines and things like that, that they're illegal. They're only for hitmen and all this kind of stuff. It's just simply not true. And to me, I really enjoy shooting automatic weapons. I shot them when I was in the military. I've shot M60s. I've shot fully automatic 50 caliber machine guns. Those are really cool. And I've also had friends that have had suppressors, and a lot of people think they're just illegal, but they're not. And so, like I said, I really wanted to talk about the gun trust. And like I said, it is fully legit, fully legal. Now, again, I'm not too well versed or adept on what the laws are in your specific state. However, I don't think that there are any states that won't recognize a family gun trust. So highly recommend, that's something for you to look into. Like I said, it cost me $200, and it was very well worth it. I thought it was a very fair price. I can get you the information. Now, again, I don't know if he works out of state or what he does, but I know for a fact he can do things in Texas. And this particular lawyer that I used, this is kind of, in case you were wondering, this is kind of a special niche area of law. Like, for example, if you were going to hire a divorce attorney, you're probably not going to go to somebody who's, defending people for DUIs and things like that. You want someone who specializes in family law and things of that nature. So each part of the law has different different areas, and so it stands to reason that these different attorneys practice in these different areas. And so, like I said, I found this gentleman to be very knowledgeable, very helpful, and like I said again, what I considered a reasonable price. I was fully able to examine the trust, check for errors, all that kind of stuff prior to paying him. He accepted PayPal, so my contact information is in there. If anybody would like any information on this, if there's any questions that I can answer for you, I will absolutely do my best. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching my video, and until next time, Triple Tapper out.